Hi, Dennis Weiss. Welcome to our town. We're at the Eisenhower Presidential Library and Museum, and we have records in front of us.
Yes, we do.
And we have the keeper of the facts here and records, Don Hammett, the Executive Director of the library. So you're going to astound me with one of my favorite topics, which is researching real stuff about real people.
Well, I hope I can astound you.
I'll bet you do.
Let's try.
Okay. Okay, so you've got some, I saw the press release.
Yes.
You've got a program upcoming.
Yes, we do.
Researcher unit records section on the benefit of genealogy and whatever else you want, but that was a little press release. So what you're prepared to talk about today is that plus what all that means.
Sure. So what I want to make sure that our community knows is that our research room is available for public use. You can come in and use the documents to research whatever topic it is that you need. And so we thought that maybe we would show maybe what you could do while you're here.
I think that's a great idea. This is something I want to do.
Good.
Very, very much want to do. So I keep saying that so you people will hold me accountable, that if I don't show up and do it, you can whack me with a stick or something.
Promises.
Non-archived stick. You have to use a modern stick. You can't go whacking interviewers with, historical objects.
All right. I'm sure we can accomplish that.
All right. So lead us into how somebody can come here and take advantage of this opportunity.
Sure. So the first thing you need to do is let us know that you're interested in coming.
I'm interested.
Okay. There's a couple more steps.
Step one.
You need to tell us what it is you're interested in researching.
Unit studies, World War II.
Because, as you know, we have 26 million pieces of paper, and you don't want to have them all come out at you.
No.
So if you tell us a narrower topic about what it is, you just said the unit.
Yes, the retaking of the Philippines.
Well,
we're not there yet.
We're not there yet. And so let's follow this one.
Okay.
We have a lot of the Army unit records. We do not have a complete collection. So if you are interested in a particular Army unit, you can tell our archivist, who will be assigned to you to help you, which Army unit you're interested in. The archivist will then determine what documents we have that cover that unit, and if that meets your needs. So then you come in.
And you have chosen a particularly interesting unit. Mary brought in this box to us.
Our archivist Mary brought this box.
And it's like the most famous unit in the
history. So you want to do
101st Airborne, Dwight David Eisenhower, all the way through the Civil Rights.
Yep, so this box is the Army unit records through 1950 for the 101st Airborne Division.
Isn't that
so if that's what you wanted to research, the archivist would help pull the documents for you. You would
with
have
their freshly washed hands.
You'd have clean hands. You would definitely have clean hands. And then within the box, this is an acid-free box. It's a special archival box and acid-free folders. So with your clean hands, you would choose a file. We're going to take the first one because it's easiest.
Okay.
Are your hands clean?
They are, but I'm not taking any risk here.
Okay. And then you put this file in to say that you took this folder out.
That's the out folder.
That's the out folder. It's really important.
Something is out.
Our order is very important to us.
26 million pages, you don't want to mess up the folder.
You can lose something really easy when you have 26 million to look through. Okay, so the first thing in here says that it was declassified and then transferred to the Eisenhower Presidential Library. So we know what it is we're looking at. And as you can see, you can go through the documents.
Look at that tender paper.
See how gently I'm touching it?
I am.
Okay, so this says,
over here.
I'm watching you.
I'm good.
Enemy activity during this period. So this is really an excellent opportunity for researchers who, perhaps they're scholars and they're writing a book, or perhaps you're doing some genealogy and you'd like to know more about what one of your ancestors had to deal with during the war.
Yeah. I have had a privilege of reading some of the unit records just on a project we were doing something like this. And it always amazes me. There's some fellow sitting in front of a typewriter doing this, but before the fellow in the typewriter, these are recollection memories, notes, maybe jotted in shorthand, maybe not at all. Then they were written down by somebody.
And then they were typed.
And then they were typed up and preserved in the form we have them today.
So this one is dated, let's find the date, 31 October 1944.
Right.
And it says, no change in enemy situation.
Yeah. White phosphor shell landed in the vicinity of a number that designates a target grid.
So this is, I mean, this is really fascinating.
It is cool.
Look, here's a
Just
handwritten
is.
note. A
Yeah.
train was heard in the
Marshalling yards.
That's what that says. That's a handwritten note.
It
So
is. We fired artillery, shorthand, arty, at the entrance to the yard. This is the history recorded by the people who lived it.
yep, the players. Yep. So we have again a lot of pieces of paper. So it covers several topics. Perhaps you want to learn about Eisenhower's involvement or interactions with Khrushchev. We have some documents on that. Or, of course, the Civil Rights Movement, which you've already mentioned.
The topics with Eisenhower are just endless.
Endless.
So the benefit of saying it here again on camera is what you're interested in about history. That's a very good chance that you can come here and spend a day and be absolutely enthralled with what's in front of you.
That's true. But so archives are a little bit different than libraries in that we organize our documents differently.
Right.
And so they're organized by the creator. So this is the Army unit records because the creator was the Army unit.
Okay.
So if you want to research something about the Civil Rights Movement, working with your archivist would be really helpful so that your archivist can say, well, this federal agency created documents on the topic that you're looking for, or this cabinet member created documents. We have documents from about 500 of Eisenhower's co-workers, if you will. So it doesn't. So the first thing that a researcher thinks of may not be the only place to find documents.
It's amazing that this task can be accomplished, to me, Don, that we can actually organize and find and then share in a format of paper.
Well, and the thing that
Amazing.
fascinates me from the archivist's point of view, and remember, I'm a museum person, not an archivist, but the archivists organize the documents within a collection based on the organization that the creator left. Because the organization that the creator set up is important and logical. So if the creator did it chronologically, the archives keeps it chronologically. If the creator did it thematically, then that's the way the archives would keep it.
I think we're learning why we need archivists.
We really need archivists. Archivists are amazing. They can find all sorts of things.
Yeah, it's so amazing to me. Over the years of bringing a camera here, I've got to see a lot of young people walk in that didn't live here. I instantly know when they go up the stairs, they're here doing research, maybe for their own book, maybe for somebody else's book, but they're here doing research. And the endless opportunities to share our community because of those 26 million pages of knowledge is just very good for Abilene.
Absolutely. So it's the first thing to teach people is that the difference between a public library or a circulating library and an archives. So once you reset your mind to thinking like this, then there's a vast wealth of information.
It's probably not great comfort to you to know at this point in our relationship here as interviewer and museum person, but I've had my hand slapped in both kinds, libraries and archives. I seem to get in trouble wherever I go.
That's why I'm looking at you out the corner of my eye.
I'm being very careful.
Do you want me to turn the page?
Yes, I'd love to.
You're not touching them. I'm really proud of you.
Oh, I'm glad.
All right. So let's see. What is this? Report from subordinate units.
Night patrol of 30-31 October 1944. Wow.
So if you can tell, this is a different form, a different slip of paper. And the archivists make sure that this is in the order that it came.
Flip it back, will you please?
I will be happy to.
Thank you. To establish on the main, an outpost on the main road between Arnhem and I can't pronounce the other city, unless situation warrants return, taking a prisoner, etc. So where are we talking about right here during this period of time in 1944? We're talking about the area around the Battle of the Bulge.
Arnhem and Utrecht.
Well done.
So you
That's
have
why
the
you're
German
expert,
speaker
you
sitting
see.
next to you.
Yes. Isn't that something? So, you know, we have folks in our community who are Battle of the Bulge people. We've had them on campus in years past and had little ceremonies, and I've got a chance to talk to some of them. It's an amazing period of history, of sacrifice, and the records are right in front of me, and I could touch them, but Dawn would not like it.
You said you washed your hands. I'm okay.
I did, but I'm already, just the thought
You're
of
a
it
little,
is
I can tell
making
you're a
them
little nervous.
You're a little damp. No.
So this is actually an interesting thing. We have this, it's clearly a photocopy of a document, but we've stamped it, electrostatic reproduction made by the Eisenhower Library for preservation purposes. So what that means is that the original was too fragile to have here. So we've made this copy, we've put it in here, and we've marked it as such.
So can I add something?
Yes.
One of our earliest visits here, they took me on a tour. This is a long time ago. Took a tour of where this would have been done. And they showed me some of the processes. Here's how we save some of these very tender documents. And they took me through the process both of film, digital, you know, taking film and making it digital. And then the paper process, and I'm okay, not everybody has that in their basement. That process, that expertise, that amount of work.
So what we would do is put it in a polyester film sleeve that would keep our fingers off of it and keep it a little bit more stabilized. We might digitize it and put it away, put the document away so that we can use the digital version rather than the real version. Because remember, the point of an archives and a museum is to bring all of this stuff into the future. We need to protect it. So this was something that they did to protect the original document. All right, I'm gonna turn
and anybody
a chunk.
that thinks that the military is not full of highly trained, highly intelligent, dedicated, diligent people can spend 5 minutes looking over our shoulder right here at what these people are doing and have all those myths erased.
Well, this is a timed enemy activity with times attached to it.
And the whole chain of command, as we said a while ago, the process of not just fighting the battle, but recording these things and making it available to history are done by people of process in corporate America. I wish I had 3 of these people to support the efforts that I do at Eagle. I mean, this is great work.
So I'm going to show you, I'm going to close this very gently and carefully, and I'm going to show you, this is a copy of... oh
good, I can touch it.
You can touch this. This is a copy of the Army unit records from the...
Buna campaign, B-U-N-A? November 16, 1942 to 1 February 43.
So this is the 127th Infantry Regiment, and the Buna campaign was in the Pacific Theater. So in this document, we have a history, so to speak, of the, well, this is actually called the history of it. So this is a history of the unit.
I know it doesn't come across on TV, but reading the details of this, if you're left unimpressed, I don't know why you wouldn't.
And this document includes the soldiers that earned the Silver Star within this unit. And so for a genealogist, if you know the unit that your ancestor served in, perhaps, it doesn't always occur, but perhaps within the Army unit records, you can see what happened to your ancestor.
So if your ancestor in Company C was commanded by Lieutenant Florina, long last name I can't probably pronounce well. It's a C on the end,
Plashinsky.
So could be Polish, you know. Given the mission of eliminating the automatic weapons fire that were firing from the southern part of the mission into the flank of our troops in government gardens. Or if your relative's Captain Millard Gray.
Exactly.
I just read his name.
Exactly.
You should come research it. Amazing, amazing,
so
amazing,
we were sort of
amazing.
fascinated about the Silver Star, the list of Silver Star.
Yes.
And so this gentleman right here on this list, Paul Keynes, he earned his Silver Star due to gallantry on December 27th, 42, and then here is what occurred on December 27th, 42. So if Paul Keene is your ancestor, he earned a Silver Star, this is why, and this is what happened.
That's amazing, yeah. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So, archivist, how many do you have?
Working? Not enough, 4?
Yes, not enough. So I think that answer is always going to be the same, isn't it?
Yeah, it will.
So one of the things we did a couple of years ago, I think we were getting ready to set up the camera, and I think Tim came in and said, we just got, I don't know how many boxes of new papers from somebody who was a relative that found them in the attic, and they were records from the White House. That volume keeps coming here. Exactly.
Just recently, within the past 6 weeks or so, we got a collection of letters from a soldier who was part of the units that liberated some of the concentration camps. And it was his letters to his family. It included photographs, which is fantastic for an archives. And it was really moving to be able to read these letters from this young man. Once they're processed, of course, they will be available for researchers as well.
That's amazing. Not only the details of the story, but there are a lot of personal stories that come here because people want them preserved, and they know you're in the business of doing that for Eisenhower.
Yep, absolutely. So what we've done for students. I'm going to set this aside. We'll talk about students for a second. Clearly, we want our students, like high school age students, to understand how to utilize an archives, how to research using primary sources. If we don't give them the opportunity to learn how to use the primary sources, then they go off to college, they're demanded to write papers on primary sources, but they don't know how. So the people in Central Kansas, the students in Central Kansas, have an extra special wealth of information so students can come here and learn how to use the sources.
So I got to see that one day a couple of years ago. The sophomore classes, I think, are the ones that come here and do it every year.
From Abilene, yeah.
And we brought a camera and we filmed while the students were working on that project. And my son brought home his work, and so I got to participate on both ends of that a little bit. Amazing to watch, and amazing to see the spark go off in the brain that said, here's what I found, here's what I read, then I go, what do you think about it? That's when the sparks start going off.
And that's the special reason that we are here, for you to come and make your own decisions about what occurred.
What a radical thought.
I'm sorry. So this is the same acid-free box, same acid-free folders, and we have our archives and our education specialists have put together certain themes that the students come in and study. So these are thematically placed. We're going to pull out something, POWs and MIAs, Homeland Security. What do you want?
Nuclear war. Nuclear war. On the beach, massive. So I saw an interesting program while I was sick on this one's okay?
This one's fine.
Okay. This one, it says, massive retaliation, thermonuclear weapons in U.S. military strategy. So I did not know this till I was dying from the flu and forced to watch TV, that the political conflict around nuclear weapons and who the players were. So this topic that's what the whole program were about, and we watched several hours of this. I think everybody knows about the development of the atomic weapons and the atomic industry and what was done for peace with it and what was done for war in it, but I don't know that I really ever had a good view into the middle of that process. So what political things did it cause, and where were the camps and why? Tremendously interesting story, and I bet it's just right here under my fingers.
Probably. I watched a different history show that didn't talk about Eisenhower during World War II, and I screamed at the television until my dear husband's like, really, you need to shush. You need to shush.
Some people scream at the TV on football games, and some people...
The History Channel.
The History Channel. It's all right.
So what we've done is created these thematic sources for our students. These are copies of primary documents so that the students get sort of the opportunity to use the primary sources, but we're still protecting them also.
Right.
Sort of a double bonus for us. So you can go through this. These are photocopies. We've connected them the way they are in the file themselves, and then the students go through here with help from some of our archivists and our educators, and then they go back to their classes and they write a paper.
I think this is one of the greatest things, that we have an opportunity to look at the camera and go, this has happened for years because of the Eisenhower Presidential Library, USD 435, 470, 393, different participants around
Absolutely.
us come in and do this. But this is not a small thing.
No, this is not a small thing.
This is a huge thing for our young people, which means it's a huge thing for our community, which means it's a huge thing for our state, which means it's a huge thing for our country and the world, that this thing happens in Abilene, Kansas.
Well, I didn't have, when I was a sophomore in high school, I didn't have the opportunity to use an archives and learn how to use primary sources.
I'm not sure I'd heard of a presidential library.
Well, in
I
South
lived in the
Louisiana, we
country,
surely
you say.
didn't.
I lived in the country. So Dave gave me the 2-minute warning, which means our fun is about to end.
Oh my goodness,
okay?
well this one went quickly.
I didn't have any violations
No.
on the true archive over there, and I enjoyed greatly playing with their reproduced archive.
Fantastic.
But I want to encourage some research buddies out there on TV.
Please do.
The opportunity is boundless and endless for you to learn, grow, and enjoy what goes on here. Is such a benefit to the world. So, and you can be the researcher that comes in and discovers that value for you and for the people around you.
And that's a uniquely American point of view.
Isn't it? That's why we're Americans.
That's why we're American.
We like
I like Ike.
All right. Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
It was a great time as always.
Glad you're here.
I'm Dennis Weiss. I work for Eagle Communications. Had a great time bringing you this program today. We hope you have a great day.